Welcome to The Fix. I'm your host, Brock Bevel. Today on the show, I have a personal friend, Kirby Bradford. Kirby, you're here, man. I just want to interview you, talk to you about addiction. Our goal for having The Fix is to communicate with this community, with this area, okay, about addiction.
Absolutely.
About addiction recovery. A lot of people don't understand the depth of addiction in this community. I know that we've talked at length about your addiction, but I want us to know about it. I want to be able to hand this community some real tangible solutions to it. So could you start just real quick, how old were you when you started to use drugs, or when you first were involved?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say I was about the age of 15 when I first was introduced to smoking marijuana, drinking alcohol, and then it progressed into smoking meth, doing acid, doing cocaine.
At 15?
At the age of 16.
16.
That all happened.
So what happened from 15 to 16?
I had cousins, older cousins, that were doing these things, and they introduced it to me. They just said, "Here, man, try this. We're already partying. Why don't you give this a try? You might like it."
Wow.
And that escalated from there.
That happens pretty often where the family introduces you to it.
Absolutely.
Okay. So kind of a trash can addiction at that time, drugs, alcohol. What did you stick with? Did you continue in that path?
No. I went from meth and the acid. Then once I tried the cocaine, something inside me just really gravitated towards it. You know, it sucked me in, and that became my drug of choice for the next 16 years of my life.
16 years. Yeah. You don't look old enough to. How old are you?
35.
You had a 16 years, so at 15 you became addicted at that point in time?
Yes, it just grabbed a hold of me. I didn't realize until years later that I was addicted. I just thought I was a young teenage boy, just out partying, having fun with my high school buddies, you know, and then it gravitated into my 20s, and at that point started going to the bar at 21. We were having a good time, going to the bars, strip clubs. It was just part of the scene, you know, and next thing you know, I'm in my mid to late 20s, and that's when life really fell apart.
So looking back at those moments with your cousins, do you feel like their influence, you just want to be like them? What was it?
Well, we were a close-knit family growing up, lived right around the block from each other, rode dirt bikes together, skateboarded, wakeboarded. We did everything together, camping, hunting, and we were inseparable, you know. So when they were doing this, I just wanted to be a part of them and what they were doing.
So let me jump to a question that a lot of people want to know. What has addiction cost you?
A lot. It first cost me my life, my soul. You know, I could not think for myself. I could not react to situations. I couldn't get up for work. My family started to walk away from me, my friends. So it cost me more than I ever thought it would.
Okay. How long did that process last? From how old were you when you were most heavily using?
That would have been through my 20s.
So 20s?
My whole 20s.
So I know that was kind of down in the valley, down in the Phoenix area, down in Mesa.
Correct.
So why did you come up here?
I moved up to the White Mountains. My mom was living up here, and I thought if I got out of the environment, away from the people, the friends, that I would be able to get clean and sober. However, I found myself making 3-hour one-way trips just to pick up cocaine and then bring it back for a couple days and then make another trip.
So I just want to, for our viewers, I just want to make sure that they understand. So is there a difference between using in the valley and using up here?
Absolutely not.
Why? Because this community's tight-knit, man. There's no drugs. I mean, not to be facetious on this, but it's kind of a hidden culture. You know, I believe it's coming out a little more. We're seeing more and more overdoses at the hospital. Our EMS, they're responding to more and more calls. I mean, it's been close to us. You and I have a real personal connection with with one of our brothers that passed away because of his overdose. Up here on the mountain.
Yeah, correct. I would say no, there is no difference. If you're addicted to something, you're addicted to it, no matter where you go. It follows you. You can't run from it. And the one thing that stays the same is you will seek it out. You will find those people if you want to, and they're everywhere.
So what was the hook? What got you drawn in? What got you staying from 15? I understand we try new things when we're young kids, man. But what kept you involved?
First off, I liked it.
Okay.
I liked the feeling. Second, when I was around 15, my mom and stepdad got divorced, and I felt a numbing feeling, so I didn't have to go through the feelings and emotions of having to move somewhere else, not knowing anybody. It numbed my whole body, my mind process, my heart, to where I didn't have to reflect on what was going on inside me.
So our viewers are going to hear what you just said, that you liked it, but it caused massive destruction where you lost everything, but yet you continued. You see the timeline. So you used, destroyed everything, realized you did it.
Yes.
Were very, very cognizant of it, but then continue to use. Why?
And that sounds like a weird process. How do you like something yet it destroys your life? However, if I go back to, like I said, where it numbed me from feelings, I was shut off from people. So I began to love that feeling of it. I didn't have to deal with real life issues.
Okay.
I didn't have to deal with the divorce. I didn't have to deal with the new school. I didn't have to deal with feeling alone. So I found a group outside of my family even that was using as well, and they became my family, because we had a lot of similar interests, a lot of broken homes, a lot of negativity going on in their life.
Okay. I do have a question for you. So once you realized and saw this destruction, what made you, well, let me ask you this first. How many days sober do you have?
Over 2 years.
Phenomenal.
I can't tell you exactly, but a little over 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Good feeling.
That's
man.
what I want you to know first. But with all that destruction, with all that turmoil, why did you seek sobriety?
I finally got to a point in my life where I saw a pattern. I looked back when I was 32. I looked back those 16 years, and I saw people left. I lost numerous jobs over and over. I had to move from place to place because I couldn't pay my rent, couldn't pay my bills. I'm asking people, hey, can I move in with you? Sleeping on their couch. And I finally looked back. I met my wife that I'm married to today.
Congratulations.
I met her.
Beautiful woman.
Yeah, she is. Thank you. I met her, and we went through the battle, ups and downs. And
so she knows about your addiction?
Absolutely. And it got to the point where she said it's either me or the drugs.
You mentioned a cycle. Does she know your cycle? What happens?
Oh, she knows everything.
And she still married you?
Yeah, imagine that. She knows my whole life.
Okay.
You know, I'm an open book to her. You have to communicate.
Okay, so I didn't mean to interrupt you. Well, what's keeping you sober today? With knowing that cycle, what's keeping you sober?
Life. There's a better life out there. I am free today. I'm not held down by these shackles. I thought I was free in addiction. I could go where I want, when I wanted, with who I wanted. However, I was always looking over my shoulder. There's always paranoia. There's always something crazy going on. Today, I get in my car and drive. Before, I wouldn't even walk outside my apartment because the paranoia was so bad. I would not get in my car, call into work. I wouldn't go to the grocery store. Today, I love going to the store. Yeah. Just to buy bread, just to get out of the house and buy groceries.
Okay,
it's a good feeling.
I want to challenge you to answer this question, because I want to go deeper as these episodes continue. But what I want to ask is, once you got sober, what were some of your hurdles? Because we talk about these character flaws that we were masking before, like anger, frustration, these depression, these thoughts. So today, now that you're sober, are you seeing some of these character flaws, some of these issues come back up?
Yeah. I mean, I'm human. I have flaws. I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect being. And just because I got sober doesn't mean everything in life goes away. I have struggles. I have downfalls. There are just certain things that come up. I had anger issues I didn't know I had. I had addiction to porn I didn't know I had. Because the drugs, I thought it all stemmed from that. So when I did get sober, I found out there were multiple addictions I had and other issues that I had to overcome. However, pushing through and going, you know what, I'm not going to stop just because I got sober. I now can go on to those areas of my life and begin to fix them.
But that used to be our circle, right? That used to be that cycle that you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Right, as soon as that feeling of depression came or that anger, we would start acting out so we could go get away and use.
Absolutely.
So what are you doing different today? Like, what are some of your, if we had to give someone a tool today, what would it be?
I can give you hopefully a couple.
Okay.
My first one is, this is just for me, may not apply to everybody in their life. However, I talk to God every day. He comes first. I put him first in my life. I've gotten involved in youth group with the church that I attend, and those kids are, sorry.
So, all right, man.
Man, they might be watching. But they're the highlight of my week, man. They are the highlight. Like, they give me purpose. They give me something to look forward to, not just for my life. However, I know what it's like to be a teenager. I know what it's like to go through the struggles they go through. So I'm hoping that with that, what I've been through, I can take that and apply it to their life. So hopefully they don't have to go the same route I did. So I would say find purpose in your life. Whatever it may look like, whoever it may be, find that purpose and run with it. Go after it.
I love that, man. I've seen you in your environment. I've seen you with the kids. I've had a chance to come and watch you. I'm proud of you for getting sober. I'm proud of you. But not only that, but I'm proud of your relationship with God, because I saw that walk was meaningful. That helps you stay sober. The last question, we like to wrap this show up with a question from the community. So if you don't mind, you got 1:05 to answer this question. But I like to share with you because I want you to vocalize this to me. So the question is, for you, was recovery worth it?
Absolutely. It changed my whole life. I went from being a guy that didn't get into God. Instead, I went the other way. I seeked Satan, the devil. I would do these acts. And not only that, but I would not give you the time of day to enter my life. I would treat people horribly, hurt them on purpose, just so I didn't get hurt. Now today, recovery showed me that I can give back to people, and I can take what I've been through and put it to good use, and it doesn't have to define the person I am today, as long as I keep moving forward. You can't hit recovery and then stop. You have to keep going every day for the rest of your life.
So you think it's lifelong?
Lifelong change. Absolutely, man.
Thank you.
Want to trade it for the world.
Man, I can feel a different vibe in here today, man. I know it's personal to you, personal to me. Absolutely. I'm thankful for you coming in today and sharing your story. I know it's not easy.
No.
You know, Kirby, thank you for coming in today. I appreciate you. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with The Fix. Welcome back to The Fix. I'm your host, Brock Bevel. I now have another guest join us, Deshon Mason. We had an opportunity to talk to him last time. Excited to have you back.
Yes, sir. Excited to be back.
I'd like to ask some questions to you guys. You know, our goal, our mission statement here is to provide tangible solutions to a major issue, which is addiction recovery. Some of the questions I have, we've bounced them off before. We've both had a chance to talk. Kirby, thank you for sticking around.
Absolutely.
So some of the questions I have is, and I want to pose it to both you guys. The biggest struggle becoming sober. What are some of the hurdles that you're finding? I mean, you guys have 2 years of sobriety. What are some of those hurdles?
Simply breaking a habit, something that becomes habitual. You know what I mean? When you get comfortable with doing a certain thing, thinking a certain way, day in and day out, it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of mental restraint to change such a thing. You know, because doing a particular thing a certain way, day in and day out, it can be really, really arduous to change.
I think the community can get behind that. Everybody has some type of addiction,
Yes.
a cycle,
Yes.
a reward system. I'm thinking about chocolate cake. You know, you put, as an addict, you put a chocolate cake in front of me, that whole thing's gone, right? Because that self-regulation. So how do we recreate that? How do we break those habits?
You have to change everything. You got to change your environment. You have to change your surroundings. You have to change your thought process. You know, and that takes practice. You know, so you have to put yourself, you know, around a different environment, around different people. You have to change particular things out of order. You know, things that you normally have in a certain area, change those particular things and practice it in a different way. You know, just like getting up and brushing your teeth in the morning, or getting up and reading the Bible, or getting up and journaling. Switch the order of those particular things. Instead, when I first wake up, I'm gonna pray, and I'm gonna thank my higher power, you know, for another day. And then after that, cook myself some breakfast. Then after that, brush my teeth. You see, so if you change the order of those things, then that process will slowly begin to change, and that'll become a new habit.
So you're saying that addiction recovery can be just like breaking that cycle. So I'm thinking about brushing my teeth since you mentioned it. So I wake up in the morning, that's just rote memory, right? I do the same. I mean, I pick the toothbrush up with the same hand. I put the toothpaste on it. I run the water. I brush. I try to brush with my offhand so I get the other side of my brain working. Right? So you're saying that recovery can be the same way as just that cycle?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's just like, you know, what's crazy is that taking the same ride to Walmart, you know, or taking the same ride to a relative's house. If I begin to continue to take that same ride, and there's particular things on the way, taking that ride, it's going to remind me of certain things that could take me down that same path.
So we're creatures of habits.
Exactly. Exactly. And so I have to,
because we all drive the same way to work.
Right.
We all, when we go to Walmart, we're all hitting the same aisles the same way every time. What do you think, Kirby? What's your opinion?
I totally agree with both of you guys on this. I agree with Deshon. I believe you do have to break that cycle of routine. We get so used to, even if we're off work, we come home, we're bored, we make a phone call to somebody, or we're driving to their house to go see what they're doing or how they're doing, and next thing you know, we're using along with them.
So let me ask you this. You know, you've mentioned your cycle in the last couple minutes. You mentioned it. What did you break in your cycle to be 2 years sober?
I broke a lot of cycles. I would just mention maybe a few. I broke just that, what I just spoke of, even the boredom. I would get bored. So now instead, I find something to do with my wife or her children, or I go outside. I recently bought a Harley off you. I got some
I want to talk about it.
I got some other friends that have Harleys as well. So now I take that on a motorcycle ride. My Saturdays when my wife works, there are days where that boredom wants to creep in, and instead of picking up the phone or getting in the car to go see what other people are doing that I know are still living that life, I now take my bike out, or I go into work on a Saturday. I go to work.
Good, man.
Or I go in and get involved in the church. And one of the biggest things, though, for my life too, that's helped me besides people, is I bought a dog. She's my little buddy, my sidekick. She hangs out with me, even if I'm sitting at home doing nothing and nobody's there and I'm alone, and those thoughts creep in. She can almost sense it, and she will lay by my side, and I'll just pet her, and we'll hang out and maybe take a nap. But it's changing that thought process of what I used to do to what am I going to do today, so I don't have to go back to where I once was.
Awesome. Let's ask a question. Let's talk about this community, our community right here in Show Low and Pine Top, and even expanding into Round Valley and Holbrook. What are some of the biggest obstacles that addicts face in this community today?
Good.
I believe that the reason being that it's for the simple fact that it's so small. everyone knows everyone, you know, and they know where all the spots are. Being that things are within arm's reach, it makes it easier for you to reach out and get your dope. It makes it real easy for you to connect with those friends that are addicts, you know. So people that are from here, it would be easy for them to revert back to addiction and actually use, and being that, you know, everyone knows everyone, you know, and you know where everything is at. It's different for me because being that I'm from the Valley, this place is unfamiliar to me. I don't know who to call, who to link up with to get the dope. I don't even know, you know, how much of the actual substance that I was in love with, that I was addicted to, how much of it is even out here.
So was that tactical? Was that purposeful?
Absolutely.
For you to be here?
Absolutely. Again, as I stated earlier, is that you have to change everything. You know, you have to put yourself in an uncomfortable position.
But it's up here.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But the thing of it is that I've learned the proper tools, you know, through my recovery. When I trigger, there's particular things that I replace with those thoughts that run through my mind. For instance, I reflect on how bad I hurt my children. You know, when I go and see my children every week, every 2 weeks, they smile, and I love the fact that they embrace me so much because they miss their dad. But one thing that I keep in the back of my mind that I replace that triggering thought with is I see the pain in their faces that I caused when they found out that their dad was an addict. They found out that their dad had to leave for 6 months in order to get recovery, that their dad had to totally separate himself from the family in order to live a better life.
And you got my mind going. I'm going to ask you a question because maybe some of the audience do not know the verbiage we use. Can you tell us what a trigger is? Can you explain a trigger?
Yeah, a trigger is something that reminds you of doing the drug. You get a reaction through your body, the feeling, the mindset changes, and it creates something in you that wants to go back and use. It could be a person, it could be a place where you once used to buy dope or use dope. It can be even words sometimes. We can have old friends, old family members come into our lives, and just seeing those people, not even talking to them, but just seeing them even can trigger us because our mind remembers what we used to do around those people and in those environments.
Cool. We're going to get back on those triggers coming up in a future episode. I want to stay on it. So you made up a point, you may have already answered this question, but what are you doing to stay sober? Because it has to be like you're in the grind every single day. Drugs are around you. We know the community, the people we have at work coming in. We know the spots that we've already talked about. Mm-hmm. So what are you doing to fortify yourself to stay away from relapse?
First thing I do is, or did, is when I got sober, it's no longer a choice. That has no place in my life. It has no place in my heart, no place in my mind. So it has to start there. You have to make that choice to be done with doing drugs. You can't be half in, half out. Once you make that choice, then you find things that better your life. Like I've mentioned, the motorcycle rides, my dog, the youth. However, there's more than that. When even a coworker, if I get a new coworker in at work, and there's a potential that even they drink alcohol on occasion, not even an alcoholic, I just let them know right up front, don't bring it to my attention. If you talk about it, that's fine, that's your life, you're allowed to do that. However, don't bring it to the workplace, don't invite me out to have a drink with you. You have to put boundaries. You have to be upfront with people where you stand, and they will respect that if they're your friend or your family. And if not, then they don't have a place in my life today.
I love that. So we end each episode. We have about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I want to throw this out there. This is a question from the community. And where can people turn for help?
First and foremost is that you have to admit that you have a problem. You have to admit that you're powerless over your addiction. That's the first step. That's actually the most important step. Then you have to surrender to God. you know, and pray that, you know, that he takes those defects. As far as where to turn to get help, you want to look for your nearest recovery center in which there is compassionate, loving, and caring people. Most importantly, most of the time, people that work at a recovery center, they've experienced recovery themselves. One key characteristic that those people have is empathy, you know, and you have to be around people that have empathy, whether it's a recovery center or even a church or your pastor. Okay. You know, those are a couple places that, you know, I would turn to.
So there's some options out there.
I'd like to add too to that, if you don't mind, if we got a minute, that your local AA, NA hall, whatever that may be, also right in your home. If you got a girlfriend, a wife, a kid, a mom, a dad, grandparent, they are willing to help you. If you have somebody around you that cares and loves you and wants to see you get better, they will do legwork with you. They will jump in there and they will help you through this addiction, and you don't have to battle it alone.
Man, thank you guys very much for coming on, for sharing your stories. It's not always easy. Not always easy to share and let people know about it. You hit it on the head though, man. You got to develop a connection. You got to find people that will battle with you and set those boundaries.
Yes.
I appreciate you for coming on. Thank you for watching The Fix. I'm Brock Bevel. If you know someone who is struggling or affected by addiction, there's hope. There's always help out there. Please don't give up. You're important and your life matters to us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.